good afternoon. Hello. How are you? Hi, Arlene. Okay. Good afternoon, Miss Francis. Nobody, not a single person said, Harry, come over and jump up on my desk. Nobody said it. Not one person. Of course, that's what he heard. Okay. All right, so we still have to finish the back of this page. And there's just a few pages left, and we'll probably get this done. I don't know, maybe this week. Carla! Oh my goodness. Okay, come on. Hello. How are you? Just can't help yourself, can you? Nope. Get it. Thank you. Okay, here we go. Back to my page here. Let me give him some treats. Leave me alone for 5 seconds. There you go. Okay. Hello, Chris. Hi, Michelle. All right. Now that he's out of the way, let's finish putting our washi tape on this one, and then we can move on. Oh, boy. It was beautiful last night. I got to tell you guys, though. Hold on. Close your eyes if you get motion sickness. There you go. Okay. So last night, Amy finished her live, and she and I are sitting out on the back patio, which we do frequently. It's kind of a thing around here, One of these days, I'm going to show you guys what my backyard looks like at night. Since we moved in here, I have been, well, when we first moved in, I bought a bunch of lighting for the backyard, like some uplighting and some lights for the patio and things like that. And since then, it's a thing. We buy like the all those little lawn things that you see at the Dollar Tree. We buy those for Mike to put in the backyard. Also, anything that's solar lit goes in the backyard. So I have like solar powered dragonflies in the bushes, and there's all kinds of uplighting on the rocks and the decor back there. And There's solar bulbs in the gazebo and a solar chandelier, and then we have little snowball looking things across the patio, and we have all these little lawn ornaments out there, and there's even some on the house. We have a giant gecko that hangs on the light, and the geckos that live in the potting bench, they come up at night and they get behind that gecko to attack the bugs on the light. But it's kind of a neat little backyard. So we were sitting out there last night. We wait for the sprinklers to come on because that drops the temperature outside by about 5 to 10 degrees. But it's kind of a thing. We go out there and we hang out in the backyard. Mike comes out after work and he joins us. And we sit out there, and Amy and Mike and I play trivia and, just shoot the shit. So we're sitting there yesterday, and Amy and I were sitting there, and she goes, "It's just a nice night." I said, "Yep, just gorgeous. It's just a couple of clouds, but looks like it's cleared up pretty good." "Yep, I think it's a beautiful night." Oh my God, we're freaking old. We have just sat here and had an entire conversation on the weather while sitting on the back porch. All we need now is a back in my day story and to shake our fist at some kid. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. It's a little it's very, it has a neat atmosphere. It's soft and it's comfortable and
Relaxing.
Yeah, it's just relaxing, and and we love to be out there, so All right, so we're gonna use this little journal card over here, but I'm gonna have to make a pocket for it. Let's see, what should we do? It's just it's just comfortable, and we enjoy it, and it's still fun for when the grandkids come over. They like to play out there too, so. Let's get this out of the way for a second. There we go. Sandra, stop screaming at people.
No, I was just yelling good morning. And that's it. I'll be talking the rest of it.
So yeah, we were sitting there last night going, we're old. Having entire conversations about the weather. We are old. I think I want to add something up here. I'm not sure what it is though. And I know I want to add something here, and I'm not sure what that is going to be. Let's take a look. Shall we? Of course we shall. I don't know. What game do you want to play? War games? Oh. Somebody's mad. Who peed in your Wheaties? FedEx. Global thermonuclear war, yes. FedEx, huh? What did they do this time? Well, there you go. See? Arlene will play.
Yeah, if it includes stabby tools.
Oh, Goody Google's here again. Order a laptop and the game. That's the game. A lazy biatch was going to leave the stuff in the game. Oh, they know better than that crap. Yeah, they're just being lazy.
Excuse me.
I mean, I don't want to be harsh about it, but you live in a place where there's, snakes. You knew that when you took the job. Just saying. Come on for there. Piece of plastic. This one's just being difficult. Okay. Okay, Sandy's Englishing good today.
No hush.
Hi, Candy. How are you?
There's no English in my
You so good Englishes today.
Mm-hmm.
You ish okay or you are okay. There's a big difference between kind of ishy okay and I really am okay. Just had an endoscopy this morning, so a little tired. Well, honey, you just lay there and relax, preferably on your stomach or your side. I had to take this one for a butt probe.
Hey,
What?
they haven't even scheduled it yet.
I know. We got to get it scheduled, though.
The only thing they're going to do in my butt
I just want to go and find out if you're really full of shit.
I can answer that. Yes. We need a second opinion on that. Hi.
Hold on.
You just sound bullshit.
All right, let me find this thing. What is this thing? Oh, come on. Okay, well, I'm gonna let you guys know. My computer just came up and said that there's some kind of scan scheduled for 5 minutes from now. So if I disappear, I'll try and get back on. Ugh. I have a really good doctor, and it's taken me 23 years, almost 24 years, living in Vegas to find a good doctor. But I have finally found one, and I like him, and he's smart too. Hadn't seen my previous doctor since before COVID. And to be honest, I really didn't like the guy. Of course, Mike and I have the same doctor, because it just makes sense. Well, after Mike got sick and I almost lost him, we went to the doctor's for the follow-up, and he didn't think that it was necessary to tell Mike how to actually use his insulin monitor and stuff. Now, Mike had what we call situational diabetes. There's really no name for it. He got sick, really sick. He had a cyst. This was about 4 or 5 years ago. He had a cyst in his groin, and he'd had them before, but usually, they were just like, he would either ignore them and they would go away, the body would suck them back up, or he would just pop them. They'd get like a head on and he'd pop it like a pimple, and that was it. We were good. He was gone. It was done. Not so much this time. Hi, Christine. He popped it. Unbeknownst to him, it popped in. And so all of that ick went in to his leg instead of out. But he didn't know because he was in the shower when he popped it, because that's, where you do that thing. And the next day he started to feel pretty bad. And so I took him to the doctor. And at the time, our urgent care was right across the street from our house. And so we went to the urgent care, and the doctor that was in there, she's like, oh, he just has a viral infection. We'll give him some antibiotic. They weren't even going to give him antibiotics. She was like, he just has like a little infection, like a cold, no big deal. So she sent him home with a Z-Pack because he gets pneumonia and bronchitis really easy. So she sent him home with a Z-Pack just in case. And that was it. That's all she gave him. About 3 days later, he was constantly going to the bathroom and he was drinking a lot of water and he still wasn't feeling well. And I said, you know what? I'm done. We're going to. So we went back. And at this point, he did have pain in his groin. And we went back and they ended up, they were like, well, yeah, it looks like you got an infection going here. It could be, anything. And they did his blood work and his sugar was like around 5 something, 500 and something. So they told us to, he needed to go to the emergency room and have this cyst irrigated, cleaned. So we went over to the hospital, to the emergency room, and we got in there. And I have to tell you, there are some hospitals now that are very annoying. We're in there waiting for the doctor. Like, the doctor hasn't even come in yet. Like, he's come in and he's looked at the issue and he says, okay, we're going to have to drain this. But let me see what's going on. I want to take a look. I want to scan it, see how big it is and all this other stuff. And we were like, okay, fine. In walks this woman with this little computer on a desk. And she's like, okay, well, the estimate for today's treatment is, and she gives me a number. And your insurance is expected to pay blah, 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 blah. And she gives me another number. And there's a difference of that. How would you like to pay that today? Lady, my husband is laying here in a cold sweat, shivering, with a blood sugar over 500. I'm not thinking about paying you. Get the hell out. I kicked her out of the room. And the doctor comes back in and he's like, yeah, we're going to go ahead and admit you because this is huge. And I'm like, okay. So now we're going to admit him. So I'm going to put this right here. So we're going to glue this down like we said we were going to. So they took him upstairs and admitted him to the hospital, got him a bed upstairs. They put him on antibiotics. The surgeon comes in to see him and says, this is what we're going to be doing, yada, yada, yada. And we're like, okay. And he's like, we're going to get it done. And we're like, fantastic. Okay. Here's the part they didn't tell us. They were going to try and kill him. But basically he had, they opened up his groin and cleaned, debrided it and cleaned everything out. And then when they were done, they didn't close the wound. So he had a wound about the size of my index finger that was open on his leg that needed to be, the dressing needed to be changed 2-3 times a day and yada, 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 yada. And, I was okay with that. No big deal. I have my EMT. I can do this. Well, he was still in there. And because they wouldn't release him until his kidneys began to function. So they had him on all these different antibiotics. He was still on the antibiotic that the emergency room doctor had given him. Then he was on the antibiotic that the actual doctor on the floor decided he needed to be on. And then he was on another antibiotic, which the surgeon had given him, which was broad spectrum. And his kidneys started to shut down. And his blood pressure kept dropping, and he has high blood pressure. His blood pressure kept bottoming out. And at this point, I was done. I said, here's what we're going to do. He's only going to be taking the antibiotics for the post-surgical care. Everything else, I will refuse. I looked at his chart. I saw what there was. Anything else that they tried to hang, I either refused it or I unplugged it. One broad spectrum antibiotic is enough. Nobody had yet to address his sugar. So they take another reading of his sugar in the hospital, and he's still at about 200. So when they sent him out of the hospital, they gave him an antibiotic that was 100. They gave him a prescription for 100 pills. It was almost $1,000 a pill. That's not going to work. They gave him a prescription for insulin for diabetes. No monitor, no glucose strips, no syringes. Just gave him the prescription for, medication. And I was like, what? And they let him out of the hospital on a Friday. He was in the hospital for 9 days. So on Monday, I had to take him to the surgeon for, the follow-up. When we got home on Friday, there was a nurse that came in, and he was sitting there Indian style on the floor. So she's like, okay, I guess there's no pain. And, they basically told us how to clean the wound and everything. And the whole time he was in the hospital, every time I came in, that woman with that computer came walking into the room. How would you like to pay today? How would you like to pay today? Got to the point where the only thing I carried into the hospital were my car keys. And I went, oh, sorry, I don't have anything on me. Go away. Because my husband has insurance, but his company also has like an emergency fund that covers those types of things. Because he still works for a company that's still family owned. Cox Cable is family owned. And so I think it was like Wednesday or Thursday after he got out of the hospital, we went up to see the regular GP, and he gave him a prescription for an insulin pen. Because we were like, they gave us an insulin prescription, but no needles, no glucose monitor, none of that stuff. And he's like, oh, it's okay. I'll take care of it. And we went to the pharmacy, and he had given us a prescription for a glucose pen, but still nobody had told him how much insulin to take, when to take it, how to take it. Nobody. Now, luckily, within, as the wound healed, his sugar levels went back to normal. So we call it situational diabetes. Well, we went to see the new doctor, and of course, there's diabetes in his chart. So the doctor says, well, do you need any refills on your insulin? And Mike's like, I haven't taken insulin in 4 years. He's like, well, you're diabetic. And he goes, well, you want to stick my finger? I'm not diabetic. I said, no, he had situational diabetes. The doctor laughs. He goes, what? I said, situational. He had an infection. His body was trying to fight it. His body was not producing insulin. he got diabetes. You know, kind of like people who go into the hospital and their diet gets all messed up and they're not feeling well and they end up on some kind of diabetes medicine, but as soon as they leave the hospital, they don't need it anymore. He was like, "Oh, okay." So he checked his insulin levels and said he was fine, and they checked him periodically. Um, he did ask Mike to, just do the monitor thing for like a week so he could make sure there were no like major spikes or anything. And Mike did it and, gave him the numbers, which were recorded on his phone. And he was able to just kind of send them in. And the doctor was like, okay, yeah, you don't have diabetes. So we had to get that taken out of his chart. But the doc's pretty cool. I go in there all the time. When I first went in, he was like, okay, well, let's take a look. Looks like you haven't had your colonoscopy. I said, yep, sure haven't. He goes, so we're going to go ahead and get that scheduled. I said, no, we're not. He goes, okay, I guess we're not. He goes, all right. And he's looking through my chart some more. And he goes, so that's going to be a no on the mammogram. I said, yep, no on the mammogram. He's like, okay. When was your last feminine day? I said, let me think about this for a second. Let's see, 11. So probably about September 1995. Oh, well, we should probably get, I said, he goes, oh, okay, no on that one too. I don't know why there is codeine in an antibiotic. That is so stupid. Yeah, he sort of like gestational diabetes. You get it when you're pregnant and then it goes away. And that's kind of what happened to him. I joke with him all the time. I keep telling him it's that baby he's been carrying around forever in the front there, Gave him the gestational diabetes. He doesn't think I'm funny. I think I'm hilarious, but he does not think I'm funny. But yeah, the doc cracks me up because he and every time I go in there, he'll make some kind of all right, let's see. What do we do for? And he'll go down, because the computer puts that up there every time. Says, patient is due for this, patient is due for that. And he always just goes through and go, let me just mark all these off so we don't have to worry about them. No, 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 no. Patient decline, patient decline, patient decline. Penicillin allergy since I was a baby. Had an immunologist who decided to test me. It was about 6 hours to test, but I found out that I'm not allergic. Yeah, I I had a doctor tell me that when I was a kid that I was allergic to penicillin, and so I spent years going, okay, no amoxicillin, no penicillin, no, none of the cillins, not even moldy bread. Come on, just to find out I'm not allergic to penicillin. Yeah. Well, like my mom was the same. My mom was allergic to codeine. And every time I took her to the freaking hospital, they would try to give her codeine. And I was like, what kind of drugs are you people on? The one that gets me is when you go to the hospital and you have to be checked in for something and they pay zero attention to food allergies.
Hey.
My mom was allergic to spinach. Deathly allergic to spinach. And I would take her in for whatever, she had to get done at that time. And for whatever reason, every meal they served her had spinach in it. I took her in one time when she had her knees replaced. The first morning she was there, she had, they brought her a spinach omelet. She told them she was allergic to spinach. So they brought her a spinach salad for lunch. And then, so she didn't eat that. And then they come traipsing in for dinner and they brought her a spinach stuffed shells. At which point she'd had enough. And she called me. And I went down there and I was like, okay, when I checked her in here, I had a conversation with the dietitian and told them, one, she'd had a gastric bypass. So she needed her meals to be smaller. And there were certain foods that she could not eat after the gastric bypass. And if you've had one or you know somebody who has one, you know that. There are some foods that just, they cannot eat. Sugar is one of them. So I wanted to make sure that I had told them she needed to have a sugar-free diet. And that, she needs Equal and not Splenda because Splenda doesn't work for her. But I had this long conversation with the dietitian and I told the dietitian, I said, listen, she's allergic to spinach. And I gave him like the 3 other foods she was allergic to. And like every meal you're trying to serve her is spinach. And I love it when I go in because I go into the hospital and I check in. I had to have a procedure done one time, a surgery. I had my gallbladder removed. And it says right on my chart that I am allergic to shellfish. Highly allergic to shellfish. Tinley. So this doctor decides that he's going to clean the area where he's going to put the incision with iodine. And the area that he decided he was going to cut immediately began to swell. And I come out and he's like, I'm out of surgery. And he tells my mom, he's talking to my mom, and he's telling my mom, well, there was, some complications. And my mom was like, what kind of complications? And he's like, well, she seems to have had an allergic reaction or something to one of the chemicals that we had to use to. My mom was like, did you put iodine on her? And he went, well, yes. And, we use that to clean and sterilize the area. My mom went, and you did this to somebody who's allergic to shellfish. Well, that has nothing to do with it. Yes, it does, you moron. That's where it comes from. Have you ever had a piece of shrimp that you fried up and it turns red? Lobsters, they're not red to begin with. That is the iodine. Crap. Let me just glue this part down. That part. Okay. There we go. Yeah, so I actually at one point did a study on it to find out, because I was working as I used to run the kitchen at Harbor General in Los Angeles. And we were getting like the dietary orders we were getting from the doctors didn't make any sense. Because when you run a hospital kitchen as the dietitian, you are required to verify diets. So you have to take into account what people are allergic to. You're supposed to, if they put them on a high protein diet and they're on certain medications, they can't take that protein. You need to go up and speak, or send someone up to speak with them to let them know that when the doctor says that it's a soft diet, he means it. And that doesn't mean they get to sit there and eat ice pops all day long. And I would get some of the weirdest. So I found out there was a medical student there who was doing his rotation. And it happened to be somebody that I knew. I'd helped him out quite a bit. Sweet kid. And so I sat him down one day. He was in the doctor's dining room. And so I sat down with him and I said, listen, let me ask you a question. He says, what? I said, how much nutrition are you required in order to get your MD? He goes, what do you mean? I said, how many hours of sitting in an actual nutrition class are you required to do in order to get a medical degree? And he thought about it, and he thought about it, and he thought about it. He says, well, I'm on rotations now. I said, yeah. He goes, so I'm pretty much done. I've graduated from school. All I have to do is finish my practical. I said, yeah. He goes, so I don't really have any more classes left. I said, yeah. So how many hours of actual nutrition, food, did you take? 4 hours. 4 course hours in nutrition is all a doctor is required to take. That blew my mind. What? I was just totally dumbfounded. How? You know? You know, we got these cute little note things from over at Daiso. And I think I'm going to open one of these up. And we're going to use one of these in here. This cute little envelope. We'll put it this way. So we get 3 envelopes and 6 pieces of paper. So this is really nice paper too. The back of the envelope is just plain colored. So the decorations right here. Oh, and it's embossed too. Okay. So I'm just going to put in my 2 little pieces of paper. I'm going to put this on. And I'm only going to put it on 2 sides. And that way I can put a card, you know, like a journaling card or something under it if I want to. A little tuck spot. Yeah, I couldn't believe 4 hours. I was like, what? How do you get away with that? Well, because food is so important to the body, you know? We'll put this little... After we back it on something, this is very thin. It's very, very thin. We have to back it. Let me see. We're going to do this, but we're going to back it. Yeah. They literally, they know nothing of, you know, the working of the human body. You know, they know, like, they know what the disease is, but they don't know what causes it. And I've always kind of been like anti-treatment without knowing exactly what the issue is. They tried to take my son from me for that. Because when Tyler was born, he had a seizure disorder. He did not have epilepsy, but they wanted to give him medication for epilepsy. And I was like, no. And so, yeah, they took me to court on that because they wanted to give him, anti-seizure cocktails. And I'm like, those medications, they alter his brain chemistry. They can cause more medical problems down the road. The answer would be no. You are not medicating my child. And so we went to court and we got in the court, and the medical doctor, got up there and said that I was denying my son medical care and all of this other stuff. And my attorney stood up and he said, I just have one question for you, sir. And the doctor went, yes. And he went, what is causing the seizures? And the doctor went, well, we don't know. And he went, well, then how the hell do you treat that? How do you give a medication to something to treat it when you don't know what it is? That's like when we were kids and they just gave us an antibiotic shot every time we went to the doctor, just in case. Remember that? Just in case. Yeah. Now I tore up the package for this. So I'm going to have to get a new package for it. Yes, it could. Absolutely. I knew somebody who had, when I was just out of culinary school, I had a friend who had 2 little boys and they were severe asthmatics and they were constantly having asthma attacks. And they couldn't drink milk because that would cue an asthma attack. So they had to drink baby formula on their cereal, and it had to be the soy formula and everything. And I told her, I said, I'm not a doctor, but would you like me to tell you how to make the asthma go away? And she went, sure, if you think you can. I said, don't feed them anything white. She said, what? I said, nothing white, no processed flour, no sugar, no salt, no bread, nothing that comes from, no eggs, nothing that comes from anything that is a white food. So feed them meats and vegetables. And I said, vegetables, you can cross off that. So if you want to feed them cauliflower or like a light colored squash or something that's white in color, that's okay. What I'm talking about is basically getting rid of dairy and flour from their diets. And she went, why? And I said, because those 2 things create phlegm, which causes a buildup of phlegm in the lungs, which causes them to have diabetes, them to have the breathing problems. And she went, oh. So she was willing to try it. And she tried it. And after about 3-4 months, the boys stopped having seizures altogether. And a couple of months later, I said, now start introducing some stuff back. Maybe not give them whole milk. Maybe let them have skim milk. See how that works. It's got less fat in it. Less fat, less phlegm. She went, okay. So she gave them a little bit of skim milk. They were okay with that. Now they drink 2% and they're fine. They just make sure that when they get bread, they get actual whole grain breads that aren't made from wheat flour. They eat like rye bread and, pumpernickel and things like that. But other than that, they have a pretty normal life. And she's like, for years, the doctors just kept throwing nebulizers and breathing stuff. And I said, and this is the problem. Doctors don't know what they're doing, but they're just doing what they're told. And what they're told is if a kid's having a problem breathing, give them a nebulizer, put them on a breather, and they have asthma. They may not. They may have food allergies. Oh. Hold on. This is broken. That's quite an ensemble. Shh.
Haven't decided to get dressed yet.
Oh, okay. So we're just gonna. Okay. It's an interesting ensemble.
I have almost all my clothes in the laundry.
Okay. Wow.
Shush. Nobody can see me.
I have to look at you.
And
Wow. All right. What are we going to do with this one? Like, we got this one going. We're good with it. What are we going to do over here? Yeah, exactly. Make sure you have a health advocate all the time. Always, always, always. And if you, for whatever reason, can't speak up for yourself, make sure that your wishes are known to somebody else and let them speak for you. Another thing you need to do, ladies, protect your collection. Designate your official craft supply advocate for when you're gone, so that your family doesn't come in and throw away thousands of dollars worth of stuff. Have somebody you know and you trust that will come in, that will sell your stuff at the right price to the right people. It's okay. I was flagged in an entire school district once. Mess with my kids. All right, we're gonna put something here. Good. Yeah, definitely make sure that you have, your designated craft person. Somebody who definitely would be willing to come to your place about 6 months after you pass away, and sell off your craft supplies for your family. Yes, or bequeath it to somebody in your will. I don't have that option. If you know the dude, you know he's pretty much claimed my entire set, everything. He comes over about once a month and goes, what do we have new? Looks around. He can spot what's new. Okay, needs a little something here. Up here. I don't know what yet. And this looks naked. Not sure what I'm doing over here yet. But that looks naked up there. Let's see what we got over here. Okay, we're going to open this up. Put this one out. Let's take a look. Okay, good with that. I conquered the box, by the way. I'll remember this mess. She's a mess no more. Cleaned it up. Okay, here we go. Okay. This is the back of that butterfly paper. Look, we all got a little Jerry Springer in us, okay?
Fight, 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 fight. Ooh. Where's Steve?
Okay, so I know that this set is field notes. What is this one? Let me know.
What is he got his own show after the Jerry Springer?
Yes, honey. Everybody's saying hi to you.
Hello, everyone.
All right, let's see. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6.5, 7 pages done today. I think that's pretty good. We'll get these done tomorrow. And then this part of this book will be done, and then we can go in and do the tabs on everything. And there's a couple of pages in the other half of this that I want to look at to get those completed. See, so much work yet to do. And I only glued the pin to myself once today. Yay! It's a banner day. It is. I'm going to put this paper clip on this pocket so that we know where it is, because that's we got something to do here, clip. That's my, hey, stupid, look at this mistake clip. Okay, let me see. Travel? I don't know. Oh. Does he have a travel set in miniature? I don't know. I know it's not labels because his label set is just, like that. It's just blank labels. But I know that this one is, and it's not, the other one I know for sure that he has is, like the thrift store one. But I don't know what these are. I don't even know if they are him. Could be somebody totally different. Just look like him. I think you should pick a hole and call him. Tell him how much Jesus loves him. I know that's the one thing that annoys the snot out of me. Especially when I'm trying to misbehave. Yeah, when I'm mucking, I don't like it when people tell me Jesus loves me.
What would Jesus do? Certainly wouldn't be a mucker. No, wait. Jesus was the original mucker.
I know.
You know.
If you think about it, Jesus was the original mucker.
Come to think of it, when you think about it.
Look, we're going to put them in there with those. Now we know where they're at. Okay. And we got these put away. Okay, let's grab all this. Okay, and that, and that, and that. That's going to go in the bin. Here we go. That goes there. This. And this. I'm going to just toss that in the bottom of the bin for now. Advantis Curator Ephemera. Thank you. Thank you very much. Seriously, just like, call the number, and when they start up, just go, I just wanted to call and let you know that Jesus loves you. And that he died for your sins. They will go away. Guaranteed. All right. Let's see what we got going on in the world, shall we? All righty. I have tags with paper flowers from Miss Sabrina, Brian, Mari, Arlene, Patty Ann, Michelle, Tina M, Janie, and Miss Francis. Now, that being said, if I can find it. Where did I put it? There it is. Okay. I knew I had it here. I had it out for this purpose. So this is a flower punch. And I've had a couple of people go, well, I don't have any paper flowers. Okay. So this is a flower punch. And come here. Here I have a piece of paper, and I'm just going to punch the flower out. Okay. Just like that. We all have punches or dies or something like that that has a flower pattern. And let me get this down. There it is. And then just get, your, whatever your pokey mat is. And there's a couple of things that you can do this with. Okay. You obviously can do this if you have a sculpting tool. You can do it with a sculpting tool. If you do not have a sculpting tool, you can do this with the back end of a paintbrush. If you don't have a paintbrush, maybe somewhere around your house, you have a crochet hook. Okay, all of these things will work. Hey, Brian. Okay, so all you have to do is take whatever your round circular thing is, take your punch, start in the middle, go in small circles, pressing down, and then work your way out towards the petals. One petal at a time. The more you do this, the more rounded the flower becomes. So I usually come in and do it with the larger one first, and then I come back and I go into the petals with the smaller one. And I just do the petals. And then you can put like a brad or something in the middle, and you have a paper flower. Pretty little paper flower. Layer a couple of these up, and you have a nice big flower, okay? Very cool. Yes, chopsticks will work. Anything that has kind of a rounded end to it like paintbrushes, chopsticks, all that kind of stuff will work. And then and if you have like one of these, like that's a die where you've got like 3 different sizes, put the 3 sizes together and give it a shot, Arlene, did you get your envelope, darling, that I sent you? And did they work? Yes, you do. And they're perfect. Fantastic. Okay. All right. And I think that's it. Let's see. I think that's it. Today is the 25th. Tomorrow we should be able to finish off this signature and be ready to, kind of get started on getting the book cover finished, because so far all we have is like the cover. We haven't figured out how we're going to fabric it or anything yet. And I kind of want to do one, because we're doing 2 in the series. So I kind of want the covers to look sort of the same, but like one light and one dark. So I have to really look for the fabric that I'm going to use on these. So. Yes, your mouse pad will work as long as you can give it a little push. A book is also good. And, if you don't have like a foam mat, most dollar stores these days, they sell craft foam. Let me tell you, I go back to this time and time again. This is just a bunch of sheets of craft foam that I glued together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 pieces there. I glued them together and I use it all the time. Especially when I'm doing flowers, because it does have a little bit more give than my other one. But, you can make one of these mats out of some of that. And you can nowadays, you can pick that up at the dollar store. So, in a lot of dollar stores. And if you don't have it at your dollar store and you need some, let me know and I'll get it if I don't already have some. All right, so that's it. Phone net or mouse pad. I use an old phone book. There you go. That's exactly it. Whatever it is that you use, as long as it has a little bit of give, it'll work fine. Okay. But that's it, guys. That's all I have. I'm going to go out and spend 3 minutes with the hub before he has to start work. And I got some things I got to get done. So that's it. If you're new here and you haven't done so already, hit the button for me. Like me. How hard is it? Just give me a thumb. Matter of fact, I don't care. Give me a thumb either way. Whatever kind of thumb you want to give me a thumb. And if you want to know more about what's going on, check out the community tab. Look in the description box. There's a bunch of links down there. It tells you all kinds of different stuff. Go check some of that stuff out. Know that there are some things going on in the group that are going to be going on in the next couple of weeks. I'm just kind of firming them up and we'll get those done. But until then, stay well, my friends. Bye-bye.